Welcome, it's Denome. In this video, we're going to talk about the Celsius network because this company is in big trouble and they just halted the withdrawals, swaps, and transfers on all accounts, and it had major implications on the market. Basically, every coin is melting. Celsius dropped significantly down, but then it already rebounded 200%. So we're going to talk about all the things that happened there, as well as it still has implications in the market because they are still in risk of getting liquidated on customers' assets. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about Bitcoin price, if this area here might be a good opportunity or not. And we're going to talk about a little bit on the macroeconomic side as well, because there's still the impending situation with the overall market. So we're going to talk about that at the end to basically tell you that this is a good opportunity to buy, but you also have to keep that there could be this major crash coming. So I just want you to be prepared for that as well. So just don't look at Bitcoin independently, but just look at other things as well. So we're going to talk about that at the end. Anyway, talking about Celsius, so I had about 15% of my portfolio still on Celsius. I withdrew a little bit out. I took my stable coins out. I took a little bit of my Bitcoin out, but I still had 15% left when the company went into lockdown. So basically what happened is that there were too many withdrawals and they have to defend their DeFi positions with liquidity. So they halted the withdrawals here, and they are saying that they are doing this to benefit the entire community, to stabilize liquidity operations, and they want to do this and basically open up the withdrawals as soon as they can. But they don't give any timeline here. If you go to their Telegram, there are no longer mods there monitoring or moderating the talks. All of the Celsius accounts have basically gone into dark mode. So currently the company is in, I don't know, kind of trying to say whatever they can, I think. But it seems like right now that they might have experienced some significant losses. And right now they have one position open here, which is their position on MakerDAO. And they currently have 24,000 Bitcoin in this one trade that they are on. And this is on MakerDAO. And they have been putting more Bitcoin into this to basically save it from liquidation. So if we take a look at this pool here from all time, this is their address. If you take a look at the contract number here, it's 87A6 and ends with B5. So if we take a look at that on the Etherscan, this is the wallet 87A6 and ends with B5. You can take a look at this, has the same transfers as on the DeFi Explorer, and you can see that all the money is coming from wallet 11 of Celsius network that is confirmed to be a Celsius wallet. So this is a Celsius DeFi wallet, and if we take a look at what's going on here, this position is basically a leveraged long position on Bitcoin, or they lend out Bitcoin and they take out DAI and they try to generate yield on the DAI. That's basically the idea here. But I don't know, are they leveraging this position to basically trying to make all the lost money that has occurred back, or what the hell is going on with this one? Because if we take a look at it, and unfortunately I did not know about this before, or I did not look at this before. If you take a look at this white chart here, this shows how much value is in this contract here. And if this number, it's currently on my cursor, is 162%. If that went to 150%, this position would actually liquidate. So if you go historically back, this has been in very near liquidation prices multiple times. So, and they are supposedly a risk-free platform to generate yield, and they've almost lost all customer funds here on May 11, as well as here on June 10. But now they've been adding more Bitcoin to this, and currently they have 24,000 Bitcoin in this one trade that they have. And it's pretty crazy because that's more than 0.1% of the total supply of Bitcoin that will ever exist. So maybe from the liquid supply, this is more like 0.2% of all Bitcoin right now that is in this one trade. And if you go over to if you open a Celsius application on your phone, they say that they have 115,000 Bitcoin overall customer funds on their platform. So this is a significant amount of Bitcoin that is in this trade, and this whole position will currently liquidate if the price goes to 16,852. Just yesterday, this liquidation price was $22,500, and the price has actually plummeted. The Bitcoin price has plummeted below that, but they were able to add more collateral just in time to basically avoid the liquidation by some hours or so. So in my opinion, my idea of Celsius is actually that it's way too risky now that I know about this. And I don't know, maybe someone out there was able to show that they have this trade on, but all the FUD that I had been seeing about Celsius did not really make any sense. But if someone had told me that just, hey, take a look at this, they were almost about to liquidate here, I would be quite ballistic, like, hey, I want to withdraw my money right now. But nobody actually showed this. At least I did not see anyone pointing this out, that they were this close to a liquidation on customers' assets. So anyway, I was completely wrong about Celsius. I think it's, if you don't mind me cursing, it's fucking risky. Like, you would be much more safer to yield farm on your own than using Celsius. And unfortunately, I don't have the numbers for other companies, but if you have funds on almost any other lending platform out there, after seeing what Celsius is doing here, I would be quite scared to have any money on any centralized lending platform right now. So just take that into account, as well as these kinds of things that happened with Celsius, this bank run situation, it could spread to other companies as well. So if you have funds on Nexo, or if you have funds on like crypto.com earn platform, or Voyager, or some other platform, I would consider taking a significant portion out of those right now, especially before the situation actually resolves and the prices have stopped bleeding out. So be careful out there. I'm sorry if you have funds locked. I did lose money, and unfortunately right now it seems that they are deploying even more capital on this. So they are doubling down on this trade, and I guess Celsius is hoping that the price goes up. And I don't know if this is a leverage position and they're just trying to make back all the losses that they had, or what's going on here. But what they're doing is is very risky. So I don't know. I don't expect to get the money back, but they basically have three options how they can continue from here. So the first option, which is the most pessimistic option, in my opinion, is that number one, they don't give anyone any money, and they just keep all the customer money within their balances, because that's one of their clauses, that in case of a liquidation or a bankruptcy or some other bad situation, they can take customer funds and basically hold them forever. So there will be a long legal battle, kind of like a Mt. Gox situation, where the customers are very lucky to get anything back maybe 2 or 10 years from now. And that will be a legal battle. So personally, I don't expect any money to come back to me if that were the case, if that's the choice that Celsius is going for. Number two choice is that a week or so from now, they've shuffled their assets, they've shuffled their risk assessment. Maybe this trade finally resolves, maybe they can make some money. And if they, by the way, liquidate this, then it's automatically back to the first option that I told you. But if this trade works out for them and they get out of this one safely, they might open the withdrawals again, but they would be limited withdrawals. So you might take like a year or so for you to actually get all the funds out of Celsius. And yeah, that would be bad, because as you know, when they reopen the withdrawals, all the trust in Celsius has already been gone. So if they reopen the withdrawals, you can expect that every single day there will be more outflows out of Celsius than inflows into Celsius, because there's just no more trust in this company. And the third option would be that another company or a billionaire investor comes in with more money and actually injects and bails out these DeFi positions and basically makes a rebranding of Celsius to basically, how do I say, to repair the damage on the brand, as well as refund the customers. And that would, for the customer's sake, that would be basically the best option. So if there's another company or a billionaire investor coming in to save the day, that would be the best option. And then they do this whole revamp of the business model and the risk management and everything like that. And that's actually what Nexo, which is a competing platform to Celsius, that's what they are actually suggesting here on this tweet that came out yesterday. So I think it was number 5 here. So let me see here. So Nexo is in a solid liquidity and equity position to readily acquire any remaining qualifying assets of Celsius, mainly their collateralized loan portfolio. We're putting together an offer to Celsius to that accord and will communicate it publicly. So this is, and they actually posted that. I did not read the whole thing, but Nexo has basically made a public offer to buy out Celsius. But to be honest, I don't exactly trust this offer, because I think it's more like a, how do I say, like a show of strength, so that their community and their customers would not bank run Nexo. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think this is a real offer, because it came out way too soon. And I don't know, do we even know how much assets Celsius actually has? A lot of people have found out assets that Celsius owns on chain, but we don't know how much assets they have, for example, on FTX or on Binance or some other centralized entities, because they have their own wallets, which are not exactly public information. So we don't know all the assets that Celsius owns. So it's quite weird for me that they are willing to purchase without basically seeing what assets Celsius holds and how much assets are actually left and how much assets Celsius has lost over time. So anyway, this whole thing to me seems quite weird, but hey, if it's a real offer and they can bail out Celsius, that would be perfect in my opinion. But anyway, those are the 3 options. So number 1 is basically every customer loses their assets. Number 2, limited withdrawals until the situation resolves or Celsius goes under. And third is a bailout situation. So those are basically the only 3 options that I can think of that make any sense. Anyway, that's mostly for Celsius. Anyway, that happened. The whole market tanked, as you can see. And the bottom that we saw for now is $20,900 roughly. And I'm using this chart here. Don't mind this drawing. This is a drawing that I drew, like some idea of what Bitcoin could be doing in the short term. I posted this on Twitter. But anyway, just looking at this price, if we put the 200 weekly moving average here, you can see that every time Bitcoin touched this line, it was a massively good buying opportunity here. And that's exactly where we are currently. We are above this 200 weekly moving average. So I'm seeing currently a lot of longs being added on Bitfinex, for example, which is notoriously popular for whale leveraged longs and shorts. So the longs on Bitfinex are growing very fast right now. So a lot of institutional players, a lot of big whales have been buying this dip here. But and also I bought some at about $23,000, and I saw a lot of people in my community also bought this dip here on Bitcoin, and also some people bought Ethereum. I'm not buying Ethereum, I'm just buying Bitcoin right now. But anyway, this happened. It's quite curious also that altcoins have not been bleeding as much. So that could also be a signal that maybe the bottom is in. All the, weak hands have been selling. But anyway, you also have to remember that there's this looming situation with Celsius. So the liquidation hunters would definitely want to liquidate Celsius from their Bitcoin. And that would actually, if we hit this liquidation price, if we take a look at it, the liquidation price for this 24,000 Bitcoin is 16,850, and I drew it here in this green line. So that would be just a slightly below the previous all-time high from 2017, 2018. And so if we go and tag that, then it would probably bring us all the way down to maybe $14,000 or so. So right above this tip or top here. Anyway, that's a possibility. So I'm not discounting that possibility. So liquidation hunters would definitely want to go there, but this is honestly quite low. And also another thing that you have to remember, that even though technically this is a great opportunity here right now, you have to take a look at the overall market situation. So if you take a look at the 30-year mortgages in USA, this is the chart here. You can see that this has been in a downtrend for 40 years. And right now, we have never seen a growth like this on mortgage rates in 40 years. So this is massive increase in mortgage rates, as well as the rates are now higher than the pre-pandemic levels. And then we had this crash. It's only one more basis points higher, and we are here at 2008 prices for the mortgages. And then we had the housing bubble crash. So right now, the US housing market is basically in a crisis situation, and the only way I can see out is that this bubble actually bursts. And at the same time, if we look at US 10-year government bonds, you can see that this has also been in a 40-year bear market. And right now you are seeing this massive increase in interest rates. And as you know, a lot of companies, a lot of people have been just taking the debt when the price was very, very low and not paying almost any interest rates on the loans. But now that all these loan interest rates are spiking so hard, this is creating more liquidity crisis for those companies. And if the companies have to, or countries and companies have to pay more money for interest rates, that's very good for US dollar. And we are actually seeing a higher high on the US dollar index DXY as well. I don't have it here, but that's also where we have a higher high. And that usually means that other asset classes go down. So in my opinion, and this just signals more trouble in my opinion as well. So this bear market has ended. We made a higher high here. So in my opinion, the overall market, macro market, is looking very bad. And the only way out basically is if this bubble pops, or we start, printing a lot of more money and just completely reversing all this hawkishness of the Federal Reserve. But honestly, there is this crisis that I think wants to pop. And when it does pop, I think that will have a spillover effect over at crypto as well. So that's why I'm not, going all in on $20,000, even though I said before that will be basically my all-in price. When I was saying that, I also countered that when we go to 20,000, I will have to reanalyze the situation then, because I don't want to risk all my capital right now, because currently my capital is down about 65%, almost 70% from my all-time highs, my crypto capital, I mean. So I don't want to go all in right now with this impending doom situation with the whole market. So that's just my analysis. And also the liquidation hunters would of course want to come and take down the Celsius here. And if they come and take out Celsius, that will be very bad. We will basically never see our money again from Celsius. So I hope it won't happen, but now there's a big incentive for everyone to actually go and take out that Bitcoin, because it is publicly available information that it is out there to get 24,000 Bitcoins. Who wouldn't want that? Anyway, that's basically the update on Celsius, on the current markets. Hope this helps a little bit. And also I'm sorry that I've been talking about Celsius and I thought everything was good there. The FUD that I've seen online did not really make much sense. I hope I had seen how close the liquidation was before, but unfortunately I just never saw this before. So anyway, that's the situation there. For the last 2 months or so, this risk has been just intolerable if I had known about this risk, that they were just like 7 basis points away from getting completely liquidated on customer assets. Actually 4.7% yesterday. Oh my god. Wow, amazing. Anyway, that's the situation with Celsius. Maybe they will recover, maybe not. And for the markets, I had some buy orders here waiting for a pump. I will probably sell some again if that happens. Right now we are in this channel here, so it could make sense that we go and tag this upper line here and then make a lower low one more time. Maybe hopefully this housing bubble pops, maybe the debt bubble pops soon also, for 2 reasons. First, then we can just get over with and continue forwards. And the other reason is that now all the regulators, all the legislators, they are looking at Bitcoin, they're looking at crypto, seeing all the craziness going on with Celsius and other companies, and unsustainable activity that's going on with crypto. Not only with Celsius, but you can take a look at the USDD, which is a copy-paste project of Luna USD situation just over at Tron Network. This $700 million algorithmic stablecoin started to depeg as well. So all kinds of craziness going on in the markets. So the regulators are now focusing in on crypto. So if the whole market pops, the regulators would have other things to look at, more interesting things, like if banks start to fail, if the companies, triple-aided companies start to go insolvent. That would be much more interesting for the regulators at that moment, and the Senate and everything else. But now they're just looking at the crypto like this is the biggest problem in the market, but they're completely ignoring what's going on at the rates here. And they're not talking about this. They're still talking about inflation. And when they talk about inflation, these rates will just continue higher, and that will just create more and more problems for the companies. So it's going to be a wave of bankruptcies when the companies and people can no longer afford to buy a house to pay for the interest rates, or simply just to pay for the interest rates that they for the loans that they already have when the interest rates are spiking so fast. So all in all, the whole market is looking shaky. Bitcoin could be a good short-term opportunity here until this trend line here. And after we hit this trend line, I would be looking to exit a little bit. Again, I don't want to sell here at the bottom. So anyway, that's my analysis of the situation, and hope you like it. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers.